Welcome back to Good Day Columbia. Well, looks like Denzel Washington is back at it. But with the release of his latest film, will it stand out in the box office? Our movie expert, Brandon Davis, is in the house with more. And you know, Brandon, just about every movie that Denzel is a part of makes it big. Is it true
Sure
for
does.
this one, Equalizer?
Well, the Equalizer, it's definitely going to make us money just because Denzel and producers know that. I think it wins the box office because it's opening up against the Box Trolls, which I don't think is going to have a huge weekend in this country. I think it'll have a big international weekend, but I don't think it's going to have a big weekend here.
So what's the basic plot in Equalizer?
So the basic plot, you've got Denzel Washington's character. His name is Robert McCall.
All right.
You don't know much about him early in the movie, but you know he's almost like a retired James Bond type of character. And he hangs out, he lives on his own, he has an empty house, and he goes to this diner all the time where he meets a young prostitute who he just becomes friends with and almost becomes like a guardian angel of her, but he seems like a guy who's been a guardian angel for his neighborhood and for the people of his community, so he takes things personally when other people are harmed.
Okay.
So he protects her, and then the whole one thing leads to another, and he's fighting the entire Russian mafia, and it gets a little jumbled. It definitely gets a little caught up in itself.
Really?
Yeah.
You mentioned that the trailer doesn't
Yeah, I mentioned to you because the trailer seems like a really character-driven action drama when really it was just all over the place. It was hard. It was almost hard to keep up with, and it needed to end a little.
Not Denzel.
Well, Denzel could have kept going.
Okay.
Denzel
Right.
he brought a lot to the role, but there wasn't much for him to work with. It was just a flat character, really. But he was entertaining nonetheless. Great performance, like always. Can't take anything away from him for sure.
And many times, you know, he has like his off, I guess, seasons when it's like you don't hear from him, and then he comes back out of nowhere, and everyone's like, "Oh, Denzel had a movie." This came out of nowhere almost.
I mean, I could see how they thought this would be a great movie, especially once they got Denzel, and I'm sure they went into some rewrites and whatnot when they found out he'd be playing the character just to fit him and his acting abilities, and they did a good job at that. And there was some really great scenes, but that's all they were, was great scenes. They didn't amount to a great movie.
Apart from Denzel, are there any other breakout stars in this movie, you think?
Well, honestly, he was in. Honestly, I don't think there was any scenes that didn't have him in it. So I can't really say anybody stood out besides him. He was the entire movie. I really do believe he was the entire movie. I don't know his name. There was a guy. I wish I knew his name for the viewers, but he played Denzel's friend as a security guard at the Home Depot type store, the home place they work at, and I think he was good. We might see more of him, but he didn't have a big role. But he was one of my favorite parts of the movie too. But Denzel really steals the show. Obviously, he's the reason you're going to go see it, and he's the reason you might end up liking it.
Your rating?
Bottom line, I'm going to give this one 6.3 out of 10.
Ouch, Brandon.
6.3. Well, it seemed like a great idea on paper, and they had a lot of really great scenes, and it seems like they were connect the dots with some really great scenes they came up with in the writer's room, but they really loosely connected them, and there was plot holes and a few things, and I could really see how they thought. I would be excited about it, too, if I wrote it, but it just didn't translate well into a 2-hour-plus movie.
All right. So, but this weekend, just because of the fact there's really no other good movie it's going up against.
Well, yeah, I think it wins the box office technically because Denzel's going to get his audience. It wasn't really that bad, but I had higher expectations for it, and I felt like I was kind of let down.
Some people have said Man on Fire Part 2 here.
No, he can't compare it to Creasy, Dakota Fanning and all that. Man on Fire was a great film, but I mean, this one had, like I said, had some great entertaining scenes, action-packed scenes, and some emotional scenes, but that's what they were, was just scenes. They didn't amount to a great full movie when you put them all together.
All right, that's pretty cool. All right, Brandon, and a quick shout out to, you have a family member that's in the house. Just want
Mom's
to say
over here, Parents Weekend for USC. Hi, Mom, even though she's right there.
Yeah, she's right here. Yeah. All right, folks, stay with us. There's more Good Day coming up right after this.